Hi everyone and welcome to Book Booth. My name is Rachel and today I'm going to talk about all the books I am planning to read in October 2020. I am so excited about all the spooky reads. I had so much fun putting this TBR together. I've got my spiderwebs on my bookshelf again. I've got my Hocus Pocus t-shirt on. I am ready for the spooky. I'm ready for the fall. Bring it on. I have 9 books on my TBR this month and I'm so excited to read all of them. They all have that nice spooky vibe going for it and I am so pumped and ready. So let's go ahead and jump in. The first book I am planning and hoping to read this month is one that probably a lot of people are planning on reading this month, and that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. If you have not heard of this book, this is a new V.E. Schwab book that is coming out. Actually, by the time you watch this video, it's going to come out the next day on the 6th, 4th, 5th, yes, October 6th is when it's coming out. This is a book that she's been working on for like 10 years. This is her passion project. I'm really excited to read it. In this story, we are following a woman named Addie LaRue, and a long time ago, she made a deal with the devil to live forever. But the caveat for that, is that the right word? Caveat? Or I don't know, is that she is not going to be remembered by anyone she meets. So as soon as someone meets her, they instantly forget who she is. So she just sort of is a ghost through life, or is living an invisible life, until one day she meets a man that actually remembers her name. It sounds like it's going to be a really passionate story. It's going to be really probably heart-wrenching, to be honest. I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to finally read it. We've been hearing about this book for so long, and it's finally coming out, and I'm pumped to read this one, so excited about it. The next one I'm really excited to read as well is another new release, and this one just came out at the very, very end of September, and that is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I honestly don't know that much about this book, other than the fact it's about a magical school and it's dark academia. So all I know is this girl is going to this magical school to learn magic, and it's a deadly education in that you either graduate or you die. So it's a little bit of a dangerous learning process, I'm sure. That legit is all I know about it, but that's enough for me. This cover is really cool. I'm really excited to try it out. It sounds like it's going to be dark and creepy and witchy, and I'm excited about it. So I'm pumped to have a physical copy in my hands from the library. I'm quite excited about that. The next one I'm excited to read is another one that's a new release from this year, and I am really pumped to read it because it sounds like it's the perfect October read, and that is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. Riley Sager is an adult thriller author, and his newest book here sounds amazing. It's about this woman who recently her father has passed away, and she has inherited a house after her father's passing, but this house has a bit of a history to it. See, her and her family lived in this house very briefly. I think they lived in it for a month and then they left in a hurry. Her father actually wrote a best-selling book about their experience in this house. Apparently, this house is extremely haunted. They had some terrifying experiences there and then they moved out. Now, the daughter doesn't really remember all that much that happened, and she honestly doesn't think any of it's true, until she starts going to the house to try to get it prepped and ready to sell, because she's not going to keep it, she wants to sell it, and just kind of learning a little bit more at the house. And I think she finds out that her father's stories about the home are a little bit more true than she realized. So it is a haunted house book, which is honestly one of my favorite types of books. I love anything with ghosts in it and creepy haunted house stuff. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really, really pumped about this one. And again, the cover just makes it look super spooky, so I am all for it. The next book on my list here is one I've had on my TBR cart for a long time, and I kept waiting to read it during October because I felt like I needed to. And it is called Light as a Feather by Zoe Aarsen. And this one apparently is a Hulu original series thing. That's what it says there. I've never watched it, but what I know about this is there's this new girl that's moved into her town. Her name is Violet, and she's a little bit of an oddball, and she comes to a party, and at this party she says, hey, let's play a little game, and she kind of points to each girl and gives a very specific and very creepy way that they will die in the future. Everyone has a good laugh about it, and it was like, oh, that was creepy, but whatever. Until one of the girls actually dies in the way that Violet described. Then Violet kind of steps into that girl's old life. I think that girl was pretty popular. She kind of steps into that girl's old life, kind of rises in popularity, and some other strange things start happening. And then that's when some people start to think maybe this new girl has something pretty sinister and creepy behind her. So it sounds super creepy. I love the blurb at the back. It says, 3 days later, as her shocked family in the grieving town of Willow assembled for Olivia's wake, her body lay in a closed coffin. light as a feather, stiff as a board. It sounds so creepy. I love it so much. I'm really excited to read this one. I think it's going to be a little bit more on the angsty side, but I'm hoping all the spookiness of it will just kind of make it even more fun. So I'm very excited about this one too. I think it's going to be a perfect October read. The next on my list is one I have wanted to read for a long time because I've heard it said that it's supposed to be kind of like a Stranger Things vibe, which I adore Stranger Things. So I'm really, really hoping it does have that vibe. And it's called The Devouring Gray by Lynn Herman. And in this story, we are following this small town, and we're following the kids who are the descendants of the people that had founded this town. And apparently the town has some woods nearby it, and the woods have like a dark entity that can harm the people that live there, and they're trying to protect the people from it. It sounds kind of a little bit like the upside down thing from Stranger Things, and kind of like the Demogorgon kind of situation, just sort of prowling around and attacking people. So it's supposed to kind of have that Stranger Things vibe, and I'm really excited about it. I think it sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds spooky. I love to read stories that are set in small towns and have like that small town atmosphere with some quirks in it. I always love that kind of vibe. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And if this is anything like Stranger Things, then I'm probably going to love it because Mama loves that show. All right, next one is one that I just recently found out that came out this year, and I'm so excited. So I very recently read the book The Haunting by Danielle Vega, and it was honestly one of the most, if not the most terrifying thing I've ever read. It was terrifying reading it. I knew if I were to see it on a video, like if I were seeing the movie adaptation of it, I probably would not be able to handle it. It was really, really scary. And I loved it. But here's the thing. I did not know that there was a sequel that just came out called The Unleashed by Danielle Vega, and this came out in July, and I am so excited about this. So it's sort of a classic haunted house story. So in the first book, we're following this girl and her family who have just moved to this small town. They moved into this old house that her parents are going to renovate. But before they move in, they don't realize that this apparently is the house that's like the infamous house in the town. It's the house that people are afraid to walk in front of when they walk down the sidewalk. It's the type of house where bad things have happened in it, and it's rumored that it's haunted and all this kind of stuff. So her family doesn't know that when they move in. And a lot of them, they're just like, oh, it's small town superstition, whatever, until some really disturbing things start to happen in the house, and it's crazy haunted. So there's that story. I don't really know anything that happens in the second book. All I know is I just want to read it because I loved the first one so much, and it was so gosh darn creepy. So I think this is still going to follow like haunted house type vibes and all that kind of stuff and creepiness, and I am for it. It's going to be so perfect. If it's anything like the first book, it's going to be fantastic for October. So The Unleashed sounds like a lot of fun. It's a very like understated cover, but I'm kind of loving it, to be honest. All right, after that, I have a sequel to read. So recently I read House of Furies by Madeleine Roux, and I really loved it a lot. It kind of has a little bit of a haunted house vibe to it. And I'm going to be reading the sequel, which is called Court of Shadows. So in the first book, we were following this girl here, and she recently took up residence and work in a, not a boarding house, but I guess you could say that. It's somewhere like a lot of people will go to the country. This is set in the 1800s. And a lot of times like rich people, when they were sick, they would like go to the country to get better and that kind of thing. And it's that kind of a house. It's like a really big manor that people come and stay for a period of time. It's supposed to have like healing waters in the back and all that kind of stuff. And then so this girl comes, and she is a maid there and taking care of the home and all that kind of things. But not too long after she moves there, she realizes there's some very strange things going on. She's hearing some bumps in the night. She finds out that there's some ghosts there. And then on top of that, the people that are coming to stay and visit at this home are mysteriously dying in really strange ways. And this house just seems honestly sinister. Until she finds out that basically this home is in existence, that it calls people to it that have done terrible things in their lives and are basically coming there for their comeuppance. So it's really creepy, really dark. It had a fantastic atmosphere, and I'm really excited to read the second book. It's a full trilogy, so I'm hoping to read this book this month and then read the third one the next month. But I'm excited to see what happens in the second book. I'm looking forward to some more creepiness in there. All right. 2 more left for you. This one is probably my favorite book cover of all time because it just looks like it's supposed to be a horror movie VHS tape, which is amazing. And that is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. Look at this cover. Look at that like 80s fantasticness right there. So this is a story that is set in the 80s. It is an adult horror story. And we're following these two best friends in the 80s. I believe they're in high school or middle school, I'm not sure. And one of the friends starts to act really strange, and her best friend kind of figures out, I think my friend is possessed. And I think that's kind of where the story takes off. So it's about this girl who's become possessed by a demon. And it looks so atmospheric and fun. I'm very excited about it. I'm currently reading a Grady Hendrix book for the first time right now, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm actually about to show that one. It's one that I've already started for my TBR, so I'm really excited about it. This looks like so much fun. I kind of am hoping that I really love this because I want to buy this for my shelf. I'm going to be reading it on my Kindle, and I kind of want a copy of it because it looks so cool. I just love the look of it. It's just that cover, it just pulls me in. Okay, so the last book, which is the one I kind of mentioned a little bit that I'm reading right now and is also on my TBR, is The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. This is his newer release that came out, I think, earlier this year. And you guys, this book is so fun. The premise of it is amazing. So one of the things Grady Hendrix did to write this book is he thought about what would it look like if my mother came against a vampire. And that's basically where he started with this book. This book is about this group of ladies in the late 80s and mid 90s, kind of through that time period. These housewives who come together and have a book club together. And then one day, a vampire moves into their neighborhood and they band together to get rid of him. And it's fantastic. I kind of relate to these housewives on a spiritual level. It's so fun. It's such a fun, quirky thing. But honestly, this book is pretty creepy. Like, it's had some pretty creepy things, but I just love the premise of it. I love the time period it's set in. It's pulled a lot of emotions out of me and everything, just either gasps in horror or frustration or anger for some of the characters for things they're facing. It's really good. I'm really enjoying a lot, and it definitely has the creepy October vibes I'm looking for. And I'm glad to be reading something with a vampire in it that I'm actually enjoying, because some of the vampire books I've read recently I haven't enjoyed that much. So this is another great one. So that is my entire TBR for October. I'm really hoping to get through all of them because I'm so excited about every single one. I think they're all going to have a fantastic, like, spooky vibe to them. So I'm so pumped. Let me know if you've read any of these books that I mentioned today, what you thought about them. Let me know if you have some spooky reads you're planning to read for the fall. Let me know down below. I'd love to get some more suggestions for spooky reads because that's mainly what I really love to read, like, year round. This is my favorite time of year because it's the perfect time to read them. But year round, I read spooky reads pretty much because it's my favorite type of book because it always grabs me and I love it. On this side of the video over here is my logo. If you click on that, you can subscribe to my channel and follow me on my book journey and see what I think about these creepy books I'm going to be reading. On this side of the video over here is a suggestion for another video if you want to watch another one right now. But thank you so much for watching. Happy reading. You rock. And don't forget to keep reading, okay? Bye.